Dr. Catlett heard about the pilot and discussed our division's participation. Fredericksburg City Public Schools has now been added to the participation divisions. The pilot aligned with our goals to improve student achievement by supporting students in Tier 3, involving parents and families as partners in the student achievement, and giving them access to the Pearson Parent Portal. The pilot will benefit our students this year while providing insight into the possible state-mandated implementation for next year. Dr. Catlett discussed the pilot with the administrative team for their thoughts and interest about moving forward with the pilot after assessing and considering its usefulness within areas of low proficiency. One of Virginia Department of Education's goals of the pilot this year is to create personal learning plans for those divisions who are participating. Fredericksburg City Public Schools has already created and implemented individual learning plans, or personal learning plans, as VDOE calls them, for students in Tier 3. So we have already done the initial work towards meeting the goal of the pilot. Dr. Bumbry presented to Fredericksburg's implementation of the Individualized Learning Plan, ILPs, at the October 10th school board meeting. We have 3 versions of the Individualized Learning Plan, one for the elementary schools, one for the middle school, and one for the high school. Dr. Catlett was asked by Dr. Hendron to share our PowerPoint, curriculum content, and individual learning plans, ILP templates.
I'm a little concerned that the Virginia Department of Education will get credit for what our staff are already doing. And because you said we've already done the individual learning plans, and you've presented this full-blown tier system to the board, which I think is great. So is there any way when you report back to us that we see what the tier plan has done in terms of performance, and then what this plan has done in terms of performance? Or is it hard to separate and it all comes under one umbrella?
I think that the pilot that we're involved in is going to enhance the Tier 3 plan that we are already doing. In addition to just having the individual learning plans and implementing those for Tier 3, we are also going to be using assessment data, software program that is actually a predictive software program, and it hasn't come out yet. It's expected to come out, I believe, next year, yes, or in the summer. So it's a new software program, and being in the pilot gives us the first opportunity to use it. Oh, and because it is predictive software, when I was reading about it, it puts in 7 years of SOL data, and then it will, if any student has had 3 years of SOLs in that 7, it will be able to predict how they may do on the next SOL that they take. So that could be an advantage to us, and that will definitely help the pilot students that are identified, with this. And also there's a big parent component in the pilot program where we are involving families, and it's systematic in the pilot so that we will be able to learn from that and make sure we involve the parents in ways that we may not have thought of before. So I think it's an opportunity for us to grow on what we have put into place, but I think it's going to make it better.
Thank you.
I was going to say something about that too. ILPs are not new to this division. And, we're fortunate in that we had this. And also, as we got ready, like we were looking into this pilot, we had no idea that this is what they were going to ask for initially, and that it had already been done. So the good part is they're asking for divisions examples for others to be able to write theirs or to develop theirs. Okay. So they've asked for our templates so that we can send it to them so that they can share with other divisions. Right. So the experience that we've had with the parent portal, with the Pearson Parent Portal, and with the ILPs, that kind of already gives us that opportunity to just move forward with what we already have in place. But like Heidi was just saying, to enhance it.
Great.
So, yes.
Thank you.
And I just want to say that on the division, on the Canvas page for this pilot, we have examples of individual learning plans, and the only other system that does is Chesterfield. So,
so we get some props with the other divisions that are in this. Okay. And then and the benefit to us from joining this pilot program is that we get the first crack at using this new software, and okay, that's cool.
assuming that everything goes as planned. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
That sounds great.
I did have questions about next steps. So for instance, we've got 25 different divisions right now in the pilot program, presumably coming up with 25 slightly different ways of doing this. Is the assumption that the Department of Education is going to look at those as sort of like an incubator of ideas and then make a mandate on how everybody else should do it going forward, or are school divisions going to continue to be empowered to come up with ideas on their own?
I think that school divisions will have some flexibility in it. When I was looking through the examples of ILPs, they had a list of components that they would like included in the individual learning plans, and the plans that we have already developed hit every single one of those components. So I feel like we're on it, and I don't think that the Virginia Department of Education ever really says it has to be exactly like this. They say, here are the things that it needs to involve, and you have the flexibility of doing that the way you want it. And the 3 different individual learning plans that we have are all different for each of the level clusters, and they all fit the bill. So I don't know yet, but I don't think they will say everything has to be blah, 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 blah.
Right. I mean, that would be my hope, that if you come up with a plan that works and you're comfortable with, that you can continue on with that. So,
I love the tool. My only comment is, as you know, a tool is only as useful as the user has the ability to use it. And my concern is to make sure that the parents, I mean, you talked about the parent piece, is that it's useful to the parents. I mean, I even see IEPs, and we're in SOL testing right now, and you have students with accommodations who opt out when it's time to use the accommodation. And sometimes there's a disconnect between parents and the plan and the whole spiel. This is a great tool, much needed, and it can be life-changing. Just want to make sure that we use the tool and that parents are connected, that we actually use it in the way it's supposed to be used, and it doesn't just become the next great thing. So.
Mm-hmm.